Zimbabwe. Election day is 30 July. You're registered. You're verified. You're ready to vote. Go Zim. Get out and vote. Visit gozim.co.zw.
I'm the Director of Communications for the Commonwealth and the MC for this press conference. Thank you for coming. It's great to see the turnout and the number of cameras at the back. I know there's a lot of interest in the Commonwealth Observer Mission. To my immediate left is His Excellency John Mahama. He is the former President of Ghana, and he is the chair of our Commonwealth Observer Group in Zimbabwe. And to his left is Catalina Sapolu. She's the Director of Governance and Peace at Commonwealth Headquarters in London. So here's how it will fold out. President Mahama has an arrival statement he'd like to deliver to you. We'll then open the floor for questions from journalists. When I give you the floor, please tell us who you are and the media outlet you represent, and then it's yours for the questioning. One question per journalist at a time, please. Right, so without further ado, President Mahama, can I ask you to deliver this statement?
Thank you very much. I have been invited by the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, the Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, to lead the Commonwealth Observer Group for the general elections that will take place in Zimbabwe on Monday, the 30th of July. The Observer Group, constituted by the Commonwealth Secretary General, consists of 23 eminent people from across the Commonwealth, including representatives from Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Pacific. We're here until the 6th of August at the invitation of the government of Zimbabwe. The observers constituting this mission have a great depth of knowledge and experience, not only of electoral and political processes, but of civil society, human rights, gender, media, and youth issues. The Commonwealth last observed elections in Zimbabwe in 2002. And the first election observation mission of the Commonwealth was in 1980 in Zimbabwe. We recognize that Zimbabwe has come a long way since then, and this election of 2018 is absolutely critical for the purpose of democratic consolidation. As independent observers, our mandate is to consider factors that affect the credibility of the electoral process, on whether the vote has been conducted according to the national, regional, and international standards to which Zimbabwe has committed itself. We'll perform our role with impartiality, independence, and transparency. It was here in Harare in 1991 that Commonwealth heads of government issued a seminal declaration committing their countries to a set of principles, including democracy, the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, just and honest government, and fundamental human rights. It is noteworthy that for the first time in Zimbabwe's electoral history, women are among the presidential candidates, and I note that we have a total of 4 of them. The Commonwealth Observer Group urges all Zimbabwean citizens, particularly the women and the youth, to participate in this election, and all stakeholders to play their part in ensuring a peaceful and credible process. Our pre-election assessment team was in Zimbabwe in June and carried out a comprehensive overview of preparations towards the elections, and also examined the environment in which the election is being held. Our observer team is fully assembled, and over the last several days have been engaged in consultation with a wide range of election stakeholders, including the Zimbabwe Election Commission, political parties, citizen observers, civil society, and media representatives. On the 28th of July, we will deploy observers to 10 provinces, where they will observe preparation ahead of the votes, and on election day, they will observe the opening of the polls, the voting, the closing of the poll, the counting of the votes, and tabulation of the results. We'll issue a statement of our preliminary findings after the election. Our final report will then be prepared and submitted to the Secretary General, who will share it with the government of Zimbabwe, leaders of political parties, the Zimbabwe Election Commission, and thereafter to all Commonwealth governments. It will also be made available to the public. Our final mission reports will form a part of the Commonwealth Secretary General's assessment of Zimbabwe's interest in being readmitted to the Commonwealth. On behalf of this group, I wish the people of Zimbabwe well as they prepare to exercise their democratic right to vote. I thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, please, in the front row. Can you tell us who you are and your media outlet before you ask your question? And there's a mic coming your way.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Benuranta Langa from Newsday newspaper.
All right. There are many factors that affect the credibility of an election, and the key essence is to create a level playing field and create an equal opportunity for anybody participating in an election to be able to win. Transparency, fairness are all factors that you consider. Access to the media, the voting process, how polling stations are laid out, how people have access to be able to cast their votes. These are all factors that we'll be looking out for. Indeed, there's a comprehensive list that we look out for, and that will factor in the final report that we would present. The Commonwealth, as a rule of thumb, observes elections only in member countries. But you remember that Zimbabwe was a member of the Commonwealth before until it withdrew. And this mission is here at the special request of the government of Zimbabwe. A request was made to the Secretary General to field a mission. And so, even though it's an exception, the Secretary General considered it appropriate to send this mission. And as I said, we are all aware that Zimbabwe seeks to rejoin the Commonwealth. And so, I guess that the success of this election will play a very key part in the assessment that is made to look at that request that Zimbabwe has made.
Thank you. Next question, please. At the back.
My name is John Kassim from Channel Africa, SABC. My question, that you came into the country and the date that you are dispatching your observer team, don't you think this is short? The time is short, considering that the election cycle began last year from the voter registration and up to
environment in which the elections are going to be held. And we've looked at those reports. Those reports are comprehensive. They give us an overview of the political environment. They give us an overview of the media environment. We have cultural issues, so many gender issues, and we've all gone through those reports. Aside from that, we are validating the reports by speaking to the stakeholders. And we've held meetings with political parties. We're going to continue to meet with all the other political parties. We're meeting civil society organizations. And so this will all feed back into the reports that we've had. And I believe that it creates a fair platform for us to be able to hold a very successful mission here in Zimbabwe.
Thanks. Next question.
What's your preliminary assessment of the environment so far with the time that you've been in Zimbabwe?
We've spoken to the stakeholders and we're speaking to several others. I guess that all Zimbabweans are stakeholders, but you have different groups. You have civil society organizations, you have faith-based organizations, and everybody has a stake in ensuring that these elections are free and fair. But I'll say that the main stakeholders are the political parties and the candidates that are participating. And so the concerns that they raised in advance of the election are very important and we need to look at. There are a few issues that have come up in respect of the voters' role. There are a few issues that have come up in respect of how the layout of the ballot paper is. There are issues that have come up with regards to fairness in access to the media and many others. And so these are issues that we're taking up with the Elections Commission and all those that matter, security issues and all that. And so I'll say that fairly we're ready to go, but there are a few more days, and if there are any rough edges, I guess that ZEC and security organizations and all those who have a part to play in the elections can polish over those rough edges before Monday next week.
Follow-on question from SABC, is that correct?
Yeah. On the issue of the demands by the opposition parties from ZEC to implement, as the Commonwealth Election Observer Team, do you think the demands are unreasonable?
Could you say that again?
Do you think the demands by the opposition political parties
Yeah.
with regards to the implementation of some issues like the ballot paper, the voters' roll and so forth, do you think they are unreasonable?
In the run-up to an election, no demand is unreasonable. I guess that everybody wants to create sufficient democratic space and have a high level of confidence that they're being treated fairly. And so I think that is for ZEC to listen to those complaints and where it is possible within the law to address those complaints, to do so. But if it takes ZEC outside the ambit of the law, I don't think that is something that they can contain. And so no demand is unreasonable, and I guess that every political party will push the democratic space to ensure that their confidence level going into the election is good enough. And so I believe we must have a large heart to accommodate everybody. The ruling party might have its demands, the opposition might have its demands, and so even though elections are a human process, as much as possible we need to contain the concerns of everybody, because you want everybody to go into the election with a high level of assurance that they're going to be treated fairly in the electoral process.
Just to say that on your seats you'll have a press release about this press statement and the full statement that Chairman Mahama read to you. The names and titles of every member of the Observer Group are live on our website right now. They're right on our homepage, so you can find them easily if you want to know the full names of all of the members of the Observer Group. They come from right across the Commonwealth. We have consultations here in Harare for another couple of days, and then we are deploying to all 10 provinces. And I'm just scanning the room as I speak to you, wondering if any of you has a further question. Please.
Given that mission was in 2002, and in comparison to what is happening right now during this pre-electoral period, do you see any improvement? Do you think Zimbabwe is on the right path of achieving democratic elections?
And I believe that every election is better than the previous one. Even in my own experience in Ghana, every election has seen an improvement in the electoral process. So certainly, I mean, from 2002 to date, I mean, it must be a vast improvement on what it was in 2002. So yes, there have been improvements. The political space is much broader than it was at that time. But we cannot sit on our oars and say because it's better than it was the last time, we would not strive for perfection. And so as much as possible, there might be recommendations that we'll make in our interim and our final reports that make the process even much better. We were discussing with the Elections Commission yesterday, and for instance, it's a prerogative of the Elections Commission to print the ballot papers. Everywhere in the world is the Elections Commission that has the sole right to print the ballot papers. But you increase the trust and confidence of people if they are part of that process of printing the ballot papers. So maybe in future, it will be helpful if the ZEC involve the stakeholders to make sure that in the printing they have no concerns Otherwise, then the issue about arrangement of the ballots would probably have been noticed before the ballot papers were printed. So like I say, every election will cure any mistakes that were made in the past and improve, you know, the space so that stakeholders can be a part of the process. But certainly from 2002 until now, I was here in 2002 during that election, I would say that there's been quite some progress made.
Zimbabwe, Election Day is 30 July. You're ready to vote. Now plan your day, plan your travel, play your part in our peaceful, harmonious elections. Go Zim, get out and vote.